ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So any questions, clarifications on what we had done last time? 32 to 34 if I am not mistaken. Okay. Remember what we saw last time. The Atma is presented as something to be known, and in the next verse he gave that Purvapaksha, that the Purvapaksha was that Atma cannot be known, because according to your own description it is not available for the sense organs, mind, etc. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha, all that we have seen. So which was answered in the 34th verse by saying that it is not that it is unknown. Okay? Only what it is not known. For which he gave the example of the chaya covering the moon, the shadow of the earth covering the moon, etc. was the example given to show that the covering is only an apparent thing, it's not a real covering. It's only ignorance about what I am, not that I am. So even when there is an eclipse on, you know that the moon or the sun is there. Similarly, I know I am. Only what I am, I don't know. So all this elaborately we saw. It's clear, or any questions on it? All clear? Okay. If it is all clear, then let us go ahead. Okay. Now in the next two verses taken together, okay, he is answering it by referring to the Upanishad, etc. Because no writer or teacher of Vedanta will say this is my own. Nobody will say that. He will say, yes, I have validated this knowledge, that is true. But the knowledge, the source is the pramana. It's important to see that. Otherwise, you may be following something which is valid for one person, but may not be valid for me. If it has to be universally valid, it should be free from personalities. Only then it is universally valid. If it is based on one person's personality, which is great, however great he is, he may be the greatest of them all, but it is still valid for him, may or may not be valid for me. That is why no Vedanta teacher will say this is my own. Even though if he is a great teacher like Shankara himself, whose words are as valid as what the Upanishad is, still he will not say that. He will show you sections from the Upanishad, etc., which is highlighting this understanding. Why? Pramana is the supreme thing, the means of knowledge. And one needs to have that sense of surrender towards the Pramana. Like, your eyes tell you that this is a pen. I know that there are a lot of people here who trust me totally. You have total trust in me. But if I tell you this is a rabbit, nobody is going to take me seriously. Swamiji is giving an example. Why? Because your surrender is to your eyes, your pramana, which tells you that this is a pen. This is a pen. Yeah. Not a rabbit. Therefore, your surrender is always to the pramana. And because there is a person necessary to handle the pramana, it may be some sort of extension to the person also. Yeah. Some sort of credibility the person gains because he is explaining the pramana. Okay. Yeah. So the validity of a person's teaching is the validity of the pramana, which he has validated, internalized in his life, so that person's words can be as good as a pramana. But if he is traditional, he will show you the pramana. It's important to understand this. Otherwise, you will fall for a charismatic person who may or may not be a traditional teacher. Charismatic. Okay? Or a good marketing person who markets himself well. Whereas traditional people nowadays do some sort of publicity so that people come to know that there is something like this available. There's no great marketing done. Okay? Some publicity is done so that you need to come. Yeah. And publicity along with it brings its own hassles. People calling you up, asking you for this and that. And if they are disappointed with you, threatening to do things. I'm facing all that. Part of the game. Part of the game. Why? Because you have to reach out to people. Your compassion makes you to reach out to people. And that is also your vulnerability, because then people can, your contact details are out in public. Okay. Anyone can see you on Facebook. Swamiji, why don't you lock your profile? Then nobody can see what you're posting anyway. My friends I am in touch with. All of my students, my friends, I am directly in touch with. I don't need Facebook for that. Reaching out. And you're reaching out, then all these things will happen. Part of the game. What to do? Yeah. One of my batchmates had some morphed pictures put up on his website. What to do? However much security, this, that, etc. We have a virus on our website. That's why many of you will get an alert when you go to our website, which we are updoing. Vedic Wisdom Festival is okay, but the Vedic Wisdom website has some problems in it, which you are doing it, getting it set. So all these things will happen. Part of the game of being in public life. Okay, part of the game of being in public life. Yeah. But that doesn't stop the compassion of a teacher from reaching out. How can that stop? How can that stop? That can't stop. Okay? So, keeping that in mind, the pramana will have to be always mentioned. The traditional teachers will always mention the pramana because they have been blessed by the pramana and they are sharing it with people who are interested in knowing. The reaching out is to make people aware that something like this is available. Something like this is available. If you want it, take it. Yeah. Okay. Having said that much, okay. Chakshurita dhiyo vrittihi yatam pashyanna luptadrak drishte.
You have to do 35.
Beg your pardon?
35. Verse 35.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, 34 we did. 35 we have to. Okay. Thank you. Banoho bimbam yatha chaushnam jale drishtam na cha vasaha buddho bodhe na tad dharmaha tateva syad vidharmataha. बाणोः बिंबम यथा च औष्ण्यम जले दृष्टम न चाम्बसः. बाणोः बिंबम, the light. You know, a bucket of water is kept in the sunlight. This is how the example has to be understood. Bucket of water kept in the sunlight. Sun is reflected in it. That reflection of the light is thrown into the room. So the room also gets lighted. Plus that water also gets heated. Now the water has got both heat and light. Don't say water doesn't get heated, okay? In Rishikesh, in peak of winter, we used to do this. Keep a bucket of water out in the sun. Not that it made much difference, just 2-3 degrees, but 2-3 degrees relief was big relief. To have a bath with, okay? Yeah. 2-3 degrees warmer than the temperature makes you feel nice. Okay. Therefore, that Ushnata that is there in the water, the light that the water is reflecting, he says, that does not belong to the water. Na ambasaha. It's drishtam there, but the heat and light does not belong to the water. It belongs to the sun. It transferred to the water. Similarly, he says, Buddha Bodha, the consciousness that is there in your buddhi, he says, consciousness there in buddhi. Na tad dharmaha tateva syad vidharmataha. Tateva syad, he says, vidharmataha syad. Okay. Therefore, the consciousness that is there in your buddhi, in your mind, is also the manifestation of the pure consciousness, does not belong to the mind. This is a big issue because of which science cannot study consciousness. There is a lot of attempts now by science to study the question of consciousness. Previously, when you discuss science, you are always discussing from the standpoint of physics and the building blocks of matter, etc. It is all physics oriented. Totally physics oriented. So now there is a new kid on the block. Okay? Biocentrism. Trying to keep biology at the center of the whole thing. Trying to keep biology at the center. Why? Because how else will you bring in the question of consciousness? So to bring in the question of consciousness, they would you have to bring in biology into the picture. So the study of consciousness. But when you are studying the question of consciousness through biology, you are only studying what is manifest in the brain, not even in the mind. That mind is associated with this brain, and therefore you are studying the manifested consciousness of the brain. Pure consciousness, chodo. Forget that. Even the consciousness that is manifest in the mind, you are not really studying. You are studying the consciousness that manifests in the mind that is associated with this brain, with a given brain. That's why science cannot become the pramana for consciousness. Therefore, please don't try to claim Vedanta is scientific. Okay? That statement comes from people who think science is more important than Vedanta. Don't understand that they are two different scheme of things, two different disciplines. You don't have to make science Vedantic or Vedanta scientific.